Hi guys. Well, 2014 is over. January the 1st, 2015. Welcome to 2015. I'm going to answer some of your questions now. First of all, I need to find a spot here in the bush where I get away with the sound of that highway and try not to fall on my ass in the process. I'm getting some freezing rain the last 24 hours. And man, is it ever slick out there. Warming up quickly, but the ground is still frozen. And so things get pretty slicky pretty quick. Welcome to the West Coast. So, 2014 saw about 46 or 47 videos from the Rifle Chair channel. I can't friggin' believe I made that many videos. You know, fitting them in between, you know, your normal life. Going to work, coming home, being a dad, being a husband. And still making the time to do videos. All with just one camera. And when this camera dies, the Rifle Chair channel might go with it. You know, cameras are expensive. And YouTube doesn't pay you any money to do this. Not that I'm not into this for the money. There is no money in YouTube videos. I keep getting these requests from these companies that do. They want to build my channel and they're going to take a certain cut. And they've got a clientele which are going to advertise on my channel. And I'm telling them all to bugger off. Go away, leave me alone. If you know anything about my channel, it's not for money. It's to deliver a message. And in many ways, one of the best ways to get the attention of your MP, or the government, or the opposition parties, is to have a YouTube channel to get your message out. And I've tried my best to do that. 2014 was a tough year for gun owners. And you know, we've actually been under attack on a persistent basis. But 2014 really woke a bunch of us up. And we're starting to make some noise. This might be a good spot. Yeah, we're making noise. And the antis don't like that. They're not used to this. And so they've really ramped up and stepped up their misinformation. The only problem with misinformation is that probably 7 times out of 10 it works. Hook, line, and sinker. Let's do this here. I'll turn this camera off and we'll get started and do the Q&A. Okay. Q&A. Where's that piece of paper? Got your questions on here. Excuse me. Before I get started, gotta get rid of the snot. Yeah, I hate colds. Okay. I don't think these are in any specific order. First thing before we get started, one of the comments was, it wasn't so much a comment, was, you know, in 2014, Richard, in 2014 Rifle Chair, you were a bit of a prick to some of your subscribers. And yeah, I was. In 2014 I was a bit of a prick to some of my subscribers. And hopefully they're not subscribed to me anymore. I don't ask for a lot from my subscribers. The only thing that I ask from my subscribers is that they are civil to one another. I don't want to hear any you know, expletives, swear words, you know, really grinding people down for having an opinion on something. We can all agree to disagree on the Rifle Chair YouTube channel. That's fine. In fact, there's a few of you out there that we have very differing opinions, and you have made your opinions very clear to me. I still disagree with you, but we'll be civil and we'll be grown up, and we'll be able to move forward knowing that, and still be polite and courteous, and that's fine. However, if you're of the position that if you're going to defend your position using swear words, just being downright nasty, unsubscribe and go away. I don't want you making comments on my channel. All I ask is that people be civil. So yeah, I was a prick to a few of you, and you're out of here as a result. Not a lot to ask. Question number 1 is from Expendable 36, and this is a very good question. Hey Rifle Chair, much respect to you. I was wondering if it is worth getting a restricted license to get an AR platform that is decently priced and rarely having a place to use it, or getting the non-restricted license and getting a rifle such as the SU-16 or the Robinson Armaments XCR. I plan on joining the military, especially the infantry, and I want to know what would be the most practical, and if there's any other recommendations you may have for choices, and if you have any advice for someone literally starting their path in recreational shooting. Thank you in advance. So I'm going to answer this with a real life story. My real life story. When I was growing up, my parents got me into competitive shooting. My father, being ex-Royal Canadian Artillery, he knew a lot about shooting, and he studied it, and he got to be very good at it. I think probably some of his shooting was handed down to him from his great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather. I mean, these are people that lived they lived in the bush. They lived in a cabin in a forest. They were the original pioneers to BC, really. So a lot of these lessons were taught to him, and he taught me, and I used them in a competitive environment. IHMSA Shooting Sports. If you want to get your kid into shooting, silhouette shooting is a really good place to start. 22 long rifle silhouette shooting sports. Tiny little chickens and rams and turkeys, and great fun. Great fun. I love that sport. I still do these days. I got into these shooting sports, and I fundamentally use the principles of marksmanship as it applies to standing unsupported. That's all I did, was standing unsupported. There was none of the other positional shooting. However, I excelled. I mean, AAA badges and whatnot. I did very well, and pretty much by the time I reached the age of about, I shot between 12 and 16 years old. After 16, I discovered girls. I walked away from shooting for a very long period of time. Graduated from high school, put myself through college, technical college in forestry. Graduated, started getting into work, got myself a full-time permanent job. I'm self-sufficient, I'm self-sustaining, I'm bringing income. And one day, an old hand asked me, Richard, I've got an M1 Garand here. Would you like to take a look? I'm going to be selling it. $400. My eyes just popped right open as soon as I grabbed that M1 Garand and I started looking at it, studying it. I was kind of like the floodgates opened up, and all these memories of competitive shooting and all the good times I had when I was a youth suddenly just came flooding back to me because I was holding this M1 Garand in my hands. It was a Danish Navy reissue with a VAR barrel, and my God, did it ever shoot good. $400 for a pristine Danish Navy M1 Garand in 30-06 back then. So, was that the right rifle for me to start off with? What do you think? An M1 Garand, beautiful rifle, but for all practical applications, certainly for fun, it was good. I used it in the bush for bear defense. That got to be a little bit cumbersome. It's a fairly heavy rifle. I didn't really know much about the M1 Garand. I didn't even know how to tear it down. YouTube wasn't something that existed back then. Buying books on M1 Garands and whatnot were available, but you know, I wasn't the best educated M1 Garand owner out there. It was the inappropriate rifle for me at that time. I ended up selling it, and I got into Enfields because ammunition was available, Enfields were available, and very, very affordable. That M1 Garand I sold at a profit. It wasn't much, but I sold the M1 Garand at a profit, and allowed me to get myself into reloading for the 303 British, and I acquired a number 4 Mark 1 Sporterized Enfield. Again, now I'm self-sufficient. I'm learning how to hand load. I'm learning how to keep my one rifle fed. You starting off, is an AR-15 the right rifle for you? Looking forward in time, if you are going to be joining the Canadian Armed Forces and the infantry, you're going to have a lot of trigger time behind the C7A2. You're going to have lots of opportunity to be shooting that rifle. Lots of guys, when they're in the forces, they will eventually acquire their own AR-15 and build a C7A2 clone, semi-automatic only, but they can still use it in competition and so on. They'll put a C79 Elcan sight on it. It'll be, you know, as close to a C7A2 as they can get it. And they'll do that so they can work on their drills and skills and perfect their vocational practice of being an infantry soldier. Lots of guys in the Navy do it. Lots of guys in the RCAF also do this. It's for their skills and drills. They want to develop that skill. They want to master their skill set. If that is what your view is of the future and the reason or your motivation behind wanting to acquire an AR-15, I recommend you hold off until you've gone through basic military qualifications and battle school, and when you get out and you're a regular, or maybe you're going to join the reserves, you'll have more than sufficient access to ammunition and rifles to build a skill set. If you want to perfect it, then there's other opportunities for you to acquire an AR-15 and build that experience base. In the meantime, if you're looking at fun shooting, go to your local club, find out what kind of services that your club has to offer. There may be certain matches that interest you. There may be a 3-gun event that happens every year or periodically on a quarterly basis. Try to find a rifle that will be able to kind of fill that niche for you. Okay? Instead of spending a horrendous amount of money on an AR-15 platform, they are expensive. Ammunition, although more affordable, is a varying quality and can be difficult to obtain, especially if you're on a limited income. Okay, so I recommend you get something that is affordable and the ammunition is plenty. Things like an SKS, you spend $175 and you can spend very little money to get a vast amount of ammunition for practice. It is a round that you can get in soft point rounds. I recommend you get round nose if you're going to be using an SKS or something to that effect, a VZ58. For the purposes of hunting deer or something like that, buy round nose ammunition so that you don't mar the soft tip, the Spitzer point ammunition that you can get in 7.62 by 39. Buy round nose ammunition. Purvey Partisan makes a good round for that. It's 122 or 123 grain round nose bullet. So when it hits the feed ramp, it doesn't destroy or smoosh up the Spitzer point of your bullet. So SU-16, it is another choice. You're looking at $800 used or even new. They don't seem to be going down in price. XCR, I'd say stay away from. For your first rifle, they're just too darn expensive. You're looking at $2,500 just for a basic rifle. No, the Tavor, for your first fun gun, practical gun, I'd say no, stay away from all of those. Simply because of the ammunition issue, and you know, frankly, do you really want to spend that much money on a rifle being your first gun? And so that was kind of a long drawn out answer. I'm sorry about that, but I wanted to make sure I kind of vectored in and got your answer as best I could. And good luck to you in your endeavors with the Canadian Armed Forces, and good luck to you. P. Dalco writes, good videos. What's the 22 ammunition situation like up there? It's still kind of bleak down here. So, Pedalco, I guess you're from the United States. I haven't had any problems acquiring 22 long rifle ammunition. If I want some, I just go to the store and buy it. I haven't really taken an inventory as to what the prices are. I was going to go to the store today and have a look, but I remembered, oh geez, it's New Year's Day, so everything's shut. However, it doesn't seem to be as bad for 22 ammunition up here in Canada. I don't know why, but if I need it, I go buy it. Captain Scarlet, how can we take our country back from the sociopaths, politicians, bankers, etc., and regain our freedoms? You had to go and ask a difficult question, didn't you? Captain Scarlet, how can we take our country back from the sociopaths, politicians, bankers, etc., and regain our freedoms? Oh boy, what a question. First of all, our freedoms are under attack. Yes, they are. And it appears to be the left or liberal-minded Democrat that is attacking them. And they will attack them under the guise or the illusion of public safety. Is that somebody like me, carrying a Lee Enfield like I am today, is a danger to society? When all in fact I'm doing is protecting myself from wild predators, because I'm out in the wilderness right now. Yeah, sure, you can hear cars about 2 kilometers away, but and which is a huge annoyance to me to even hear that. But anyway, sociopaths, politicians, and bankers own you. They own me. And I don't think that there's anything that we can do about that. And I'll tell you what I would like to see. I would like to see the abolishment of all political parties. And if you're elected and you're writing, you're elected not because you belong to any specific party. You're elected because the platform that you're running on represents your writing and the people that are voting for you. It's not because you're a conservative, it's not because you're a liberal, and it's not because you're an NDP or a Green Party. It's because the person that you want to vote for, the person that you want to see as a member of Parliament that's going to go to Ottawa and represent you, is going to represent you and not the party that they're a member of. The party always comes first. Writing members always come last. I would like to see the abolishment of all political parties in Canada, and I would like to see everybody sitting in the House in alphabetical order of their surname. You're not sitting with any political party. You're sitting in alphabetical order in the House of Commons. And you're voting on issues that are important to Canadians. I would also borrow a line from Ace Ventura, Governor Ace Ventura. Political parties, I would like to see the people that, or the logos of the companies that donate to your political party. I would like to see all of our politicians wearing a NASCAR type suit with all the badges of all the companies that own them on display. These are my sponsors. These are the people that funded me, and these are the companies that own me. I would like to see that if we're going to stick with political parties. Of course we won't, but that's how I see it. The members of parliaments that are owned because of their financial supporters. So how can we take our country back from the sociopaths, politicians, bankers, etc., and regain our freedoms? It's such a big question, I'm not sure of the answer, and I apologize. It's a big question, and I suppose possibly I don't know the answer because I don't think I understand just the depth of the problem that we're in. I do see forces outside of our country that are pulling and pushing our country in a certain direction, and I can't say that I particularly like that direction. There seems to be an attack on all freedoms, at least the important ones, for all Western NATO countries. And it's coming from within. I don't know the answer. But I think the first thing to start, the first thing to enable change, effective, positive change, is to simply, first of all, be aware that there is a problem. Gordon Blakeburn. Hope you were able to spend time with your family and friends. I did, thank you. Got a question for you, having no idea of pricing and thought you might be the man to ask. For sale, $1,200, Beretta Army Italia M1 Garand 30-06 in very good condition. Barrel is 8 out of 10, stock is 9 out of 10. Comes with 8 unblocked clips, M7 grenade launcher attachment, located in Red Deer, Alberta. So that $400 M1 Garand that I first started off with, way back when, today it would sell for in the neighborhood of around $2,000. I acquired it for $400. This would have been about 20 years ago. And today I could sell, if I still had that rifle, I could easily sell. I could sell it tomorrow for $2,000. If you're looking for a burned out M1 Garand, you're going to pay between $900 and $1,200 for a rifle that needs a rebuild. It's insane. The price of M1 Garands in Canada is, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. They're taking their old M1 Garand, dusting it off, trying to, soaking the rust in oil and slapping a picture up on a forum and saying, I need $1,200 for this piece of rust. Somebody out there can rebuild it, but we're just moving them on, and people are buying them. So all I can say is, if you want an M1 Garand, A, say goodbye to all your brass, because it is now going to be once fired and then thrown in the garbage, because M1 Garands destroy brass. And 2, try to keep it fed. You're going to be spending a horrendous amount of money in ammunition, Gordon. I say avoid the M1 Garand like a plague. Stick with bolt guns if you want a vintage rifle. Or get an M305 and run steel case ammunition. You're not going to have to worry about reloading it, and you'll save yourself a lot of money. Put the money you save on an M305 into ammunition. Buy yourself 2 or 3 crates of ammunition for the same price as a rusted M1 Garand. Plus you get a brand new M305. That's how I see it. So is $1,200 for a Beretta Army Italia M1 Garand 30-06 in very good condition a good deal? You know, marketplace, it's probably a good deal if it's a good rifle. David Gagne. Apologize if I said that wrong. In your Alpenflange poncho video, you were hunting in what looked to me to be a black spruce and muskeg country. Looked like where I lived in Alaska. When I lived in Alaska, that is. I'm in Western Washington now, so my question is, are you located somewhere in BC, the Yukon Territories, or Alaska? Thank you for doing videos on useful and affordable pieces of kit that will still be serviceable when you finish your hunt, or get done prospecting, or replace whatever broke, and finally make it home. Best regards, and have a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year. You too, David. Thank you very much. So I was hunting in an area which is called referred to as the biogeoclimatic classification system as the Coastal Western Hemlock Biogeoclimatic Classification Zone, wet submaritime. So I'm inland from the Pacific Ocean. So I'm largely coastally affected by the climate here. Lots of precipitation, and generally mild winters and kind of cloudy summers. Misty. See, lots of cloud up here. So I am located in British Columbia, in northern British Columbia, near the ocean. And yeah, I know the kind of black spruce swamps that you're talking about, Picea mariana and lodgepole pine, and these are interesting swamps. They're full of life. Tiny, stunted little trees that are about 150 years old, but are no more than about 4 inches in diameter, 6 inches in diameter, 8 inches in diameter, and they're actually growing on floating bogs. And these bogs, when you start walking through them, you can see the trees start to move in and out. When you move up to a tree, it leans towards you because it's actually on a floating root mass. And everywhere you walk, you'll see kind of waves and ripples in the duff and the moss under your feet. There actually have been known circumstances where people have fallen through the organic layer into the water below and disappeared. So they can be dangerous to walk on. They're fine in the wintertime. If you're going to be timber cruising in those areas in the wintertime, that's the safest time to do it, is when you have some snowpack. However, really interesting areas, generally really bad for black flies, and you never know what you're going to see. There's I bet you there's still some hidden species that live in those swamps. We don't see them too many times here in northern BC. They're more kind of an interior BC phenomenon, but yeah, they're really interesting. I love swamps. It's one of my favorite places to be, is in a swamp. There's so much life there. John G, 2 questions for you. Where's the best place to get front sights for my Lee Enfield, and where have you had the best results and good price and so on? Numrich in the United States. Numrich is always a good place. It seems to be episodic so far as their ability to have like Lee Enfield parts, especially things like front sights. And generally what I'll do is I'll go to my local forum. Canada has its own basically major forum. There's some other different ones like bchunting.ca. Alberta Sportsman, I think, has its own kind of a hunting buy and sell forums. Canadian Gun Nuts. You put an ad out there. Say, I'm looking for this size .035 front sight. Nothing that's been filed, kind of thing, and put it out there. And that's the way you got to do it now. I mean, everything seems to be electronic on these public forums when it comes to buying and selling these kinds of things. Thank God for these public forums, because heard something snap over there. Because it's really opened the doors to being able to access and acquire the parts that you need. As for price, it's what you're willing to pay. How important is it to you? I can't give you a price tag because, frankly, honestly, I mean, I'd probably pay in the neighborhood of for $5 to $10. I needed that one front sight. I knew that was the front sight that I needed. There's no guessing involved. I know I need that front sight, and depends on how quickly you need it. I mean, they're not always available. So if you see something and it's a good price, sometimes I'll just buy it because I know at some point in time I need to fill a hole in my front sight collection. So I'll just buy them when I see them, and when I need them, it's a pain. You have to pay more to get it. Second question, if I was going to put a scope on my Lee Enfield, what would be your recommendations for magnification, power, etc.? First of all, your scoping opportunities for Lee Enfields just got a lot better. There is a company in the United States called Special Interest Arms, and they're located in Gardnerville, Nevada, USA. And they have just they've put together a Picatinny pattern 1913 rail that will fit on your number 4 Lee Enfield, and it will fit forward over the receiver bridge. So it's a drill and tap situation, and you can still use your rear sight, but it taps onto the stripper clip receiver bridge, and it taps onto to the front of your receiver, and it extends out over your wood by about 2.5 to 3 inches. So this area here is where you need to have your scope mounted. All of the no gunsmith mounts bolt on to the rear pins for your rear sight and anchor in on the stripper clip bridge right here. And that's a real problem because you've got very limited opportunity to get a scope into this area because the bell objective ends up over here, and you got to suck your head back, you know, this way so that you can get a decent sight picture through your scope. The scope needs to be mounted forward in this area here, and so that's what the Special Interest Arms has done. It is a real sturdy looking piece of kit, and I will be acquiring one. They sell for about $85. And that just opens the opportunities for different scope systems for you. I'll place a picture or annotate the company website. Thank God for Special Interest Arms. I hope that they're going to be successful with this product. They have all kinds of other different doodads for the Lee Enfield series of rifles, and thank goodness for them. However, my recommendation for a magnification power would be from I would say no more than 4 power for a Lee Enfield. In fact, I'd recommend a particular scope actually. It's called the Hilux Leatherwood CMR. Close medium range is what CMR stands for. It's a 30mm tube, a 24mm objective, so there's no bell on it. Excuse me. And it's got a beautiful reticle, which also is highlighted, so you see if you're shooting in low light conditions, you can actually light up your reticle, and it stands right out beautiful. You can get yellow or red colors. So I'd highly recommend that scope. I think you got from 1.5 power to 4 power, and the 30mm tube gives lots of light transmission. Great scopes. I'm a firm believer in that scope, and they're very well priced. I think I picked mine up for $450, shipped and delivered, brand spanking new from Wolverine. And they're also largely available in the United States. And John G, you actually had 3 questions. What have you found that works best with the 303? Should I be trying to kit up for 300 meters? Thanks again for all your efforts in producing these videos. I think my son and I watched all of them during the Christmas when he was home. Best wishes in the new year. You guys actually had a rifle chair marathon? Wow. Never thought I'd hear the day. So yeah, essentially, because of the limited scope mounting options for the 303s, I don't run 303s with scopes. I did the one sporterized Lee Enfield there, and that was just a straight Bushnell banner, I think, 4x32. Worked okay. Turtle Wolfpack. I have only one question, and that now popped to mind. What is your oldest firearm, and how old is it? What is my oldest firearm? That's probably my 22. I think it's my Stevens favorite. It's a model 1894, and it was probably manufactured early hundreds, probably before World War I. Before World War I. It's got a really nice patina on it. It's got a new barrel on it, but I mean the receiver and the wood is in good shape. 22 long rifle, shorts. It'll shoot all of it, and it's a beautiful little thing. I really like it. The Stevens favorite. What a great little rifle. So it's definitely pre-World War I manufacture. I couldn't tell you exactly what the date is. I don't know. However, it's a 3-digit serial number, so it's probably pretty early. Okay, Mark Allen. I would like to see more on cleaning, stripping, breaking down, shooting, always more shooting, the number 1 and the number 4, just my 2 cents. Mark, I'll aim to do that. Oh, I did just put up a number 4 spike bayonet video. That video was intended just for spike bayonets, not any of the bladed bayonets. So if you're wondering how come there's no bladed bayonets in here, it's because the video was intended just for spike bayonets. And Randy Hatt, hey Richard, rifle chair, I'm not sold on the Nagant yet. Can you tell me a little bit about it and its performance? There's a lot of YouTube videos on the Mosin Nagant, and I may not necessarily be able to do justice to that question here and now. However, I understand why you're not sold on the Nagant. When I first started getting my dibbling and dabbling in the Mosin Nagant, I thought they were junk. Truth be known, the triggers were terrible. I found having a straight bolt to be very cumbersome. I was running some really hot Hungarian ammunition, and the cases were always sticking. You'd have to beat the bolt open to get, to extract the case, and they were painful to shoot because your palm of your hand would be all bruised from slapping this bolt. And what a piece of junk, right? However, I was probably running a 10-pound trigger on that thing. Now I know how to fix them up. I was running really bad ammunition through the rifle. Heavy recoil, heavy ball. I think it was 174 grain full metal jacket bow tail. The yellow tip stuff, man, is it ever hot. No, it was the wrong setup for me at the time. I've discovered that the lighter ball ammunition, the 147, 148 grain, is just beautiful to run through the rifle. The recoil is quite manageable. I found that the longer barrel, I believe, is a 28-inch barrel. The sight radius really helps you in the accuracy department. And when you get the front sight set up to where you're actually hitting where you're aiming, you suddenly realize, wow, these are actually really great rifles. Only know how to lube them up, make them work properly. Yeah, I educated myself. No, I think they're great rifles. No, I understand why you're not particularly sold on them. However, I've had great success with them certainly out to about 400 yards. Past that, I was having difficulty seeing the target. So that's that. I got some special thanks to make right now. This is to Ken Stanzel on Twitter, GTOPMD on Twitter, and Carlos Busque, B-U-S-Q-U-E, Busque, or Carlos Busque, also on Twitter. You guys have been great, and every time I have a rifle chair video up, the feed pops it up to Twitter, and you guys automatically retweet it, and so I really do appreciate your support, and to all of my subscribers, I really do appreciate your support. A lot of the comments that you've been putting on my videos have been very positive, and I really do appreciate that. And it hits me just the right place, and I really do appreciate all of you for your positive feedback. Don't be afraid to challenge me on any of the information that I put out there, because you may have a piece of information that is more accurate, for example. However, again, rule number one, the only rule: be civil about it. You know that, I know that. Rifle chair gets things wrong sometimes, and it's okay to correct me. In fact, I encourage you to correct me if there's information that I've spouted off that is incorrect, or perhaps could be worded better. So a total of around 46 videos in 2014, and I can't imagine I made that many videos. I've got them all listed right here. It's just a huge list. I honestly don't know if I'm going to make that many in 2015. I don't know that my camera will survive 2015, but we'll see. 2015 should be a little bit different in that I am going to dabble a little bit more in the Enfields than I have probably ever, and I'm hoping to get more kind of outdoor wilderness type videos done as well when I'm out there doing it. It's something I enjoy doing, and if I can capture a video while I'm doing it, then I will. So I think that's pretty much it. Thank you again for your support. Rifle Chair is signing off, and as always, Maple Leaf up.